I've got more stuff here than I know what I'm really doing with. Maybe you better take it all.
Yeah, we'll take it all.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll take it.
Yeah, these are just stories I tell about on the ship.
Uh-huh.
Like, often while being underway, we didn't have much water, couldn't make much water on that little ship. So we were issued, we had a helmet, a metal helmet. You could have one helmet full of water to take a bath with every once in a while. That's one little story. And sometimes we're going along and you could see a rain squall ahead. People would rush down and get a bar of soap and a towel, get out there, get soaked up, hoping you could get through the squall before it stopped and you had to use salt water again. Like this thing right there. You can take this with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Oh, you said we're in the Philippines. We went down to Brisbane, Australia. And I'll tell a story about that, but you can take this with you.
You have a good memory.
I do. I've been doing this for years. I don't know how long ago. One of my sons came in and he threw a tablet down and says, "Write of your war experiences." I hadn't thought much about it. But I got on it and I've been on it for a long time, and you'd be surprised how much I gathered about it. Well, there's a story about an old fella, not an old fella, a young fella. You want to hear it, or do you want to just read it?
How do you guys want to proceed with that?
You
You
can
have
read
other
it or I
questions
can
you'd rather
Tell
ask?
you what it is.
I think we can read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It's about a friend. It's
Okay.
about a friend that was on the first ship with me, and we were transferred together, but I never heard from him the rest of the war. Well, he was transferred to a small ship, and he had the same rating I had, and I don't know where they were, but his captain said, go back and read the anemometer to see how strong the wind is. Went back and reported it. Says, go back and read it again. Went back and read it again. That's not quite what it ought to be. Better go read it again. This kid was a hot-tempered fella. He spent the rest of the war in the brig
Oh
in
my.
San Diego. That's what that's about.
Oh wow.
Well, that's what that's about.
Remind me how old you were when you
Huh?
went. How old were you when you went to war?
21.
21. You were a basketball player, right?
Yes, I made a mention of our basketball when we were down in Brisbane. Believe it or not, they had a rest camp. We were there for maybe 3 months. While we were there, they had rest camps for people that had been fighting up in New Guinea for years. But they weren't occupied then, so who got to go down there? We did, for a whole week.
Wow.
Go down there and get out of bed when you wanted to. The kitchen was always open, go in and eat food whenever you want to. And there was a basketball court. I found a fellow from Indiana. We down there and we won a few.
So remind me, did you? You can tell me to shut up. Did you have brothers and sisters?
Do I have? I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. They're all going.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going.
Where'd you
And-
fall in that?
What?
Were you the oldest, youngest? How old? How did you compare in age?
I had 2 older brothers and an older sister than me, and my younger daughter, my younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, born 1921.
All right. Let's see what other
I
questions.
do have a good memory.
Yeah, you do.
I do have a good memory.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do during leave? What did you do during leave?
In where?
Leave?
When you went
Well,
on leave from the war, when you had a leave of absence, what did you do?
Well, of course, I came back to Indiana to meet with, to visit with my family and to visit with my friends that hadn't been called up yet or didn't go for some reason or other. You know, after the war, I remember one good friend. He wanted to apologize to me because he didn't go. Well, it didn't make any difference to me. He had a family, you know. I had a brother that had a family, didn't go. Had another brother, he went. But didn't make any difference to me if they, you know, if they had for some reason to go, it's okay.
At what point did you go out? Were you out in the Philippines? At what point were you out in the Philippines?
Oh, okay. We went out to the Philippines. The invasion of Leyte was October 20th, that'd be 1944. Yeah. And it was pretty bad for a while. Just like, for instance, there was 3 of these ships, and two of the other 2 were hit by enemy fire somehow or other. But we missed those. We didn't get hit. But I remember the Japs, the first few days, they'd do night bombing. And nothing you can do about that. You can't even see them. But one time we heard this bombs coming. You could hear them coming, whistling. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they were pretty close to us. And it wasn't very long until they got a signal. Says, send, maybe I've told you this before, send us a doctor and plasma at once. Yeah. And when he got back, one of those bombs had struck one of our sister ships. Not a real bad damage, but enough damage to kill some people and injure a lot more. At the Philippines. Well, pretty soon it settled down. We got an airstrip finished. Where at first we had no place to land planes. And I don't know if you know your history about Leyte, but they sent their entire fleet that they had left back down to the Philippines, up from Borneo, to see what they could do about us. Well, we had several what they called jeep carriers. Jeep Courier, not big cars, but Jeep. They got down there and one of their fleets sunk 3 or 4 of them. No place for their ships to land, their airstrips to land. So, you know, a lot of them are airborne. No place to land. They tried to come in there to Leyte. Well, we had just started on an airstrip, not more than like 50 yards or so. They tried to come in to land and hit that. Many, many of them. And I got a good souvenir there from that for the entire war, because a few days later another fellow and I were over there trying to see what we could find, and I got a compass that sat right in front of the pilot's eyes, you know, give his directions. I had that out. It's a real good trophy. I gave it to my grandson. I don't know what happened to it. He says he still got it, but I don't know. And what else? Toolbox. Got a toolbox out of it. And I was trying to get a machine gun out of the rear end, and the people there says, "Come on, get out of here, get out of here." Well, that was that. I'm trying to get my sequence together here, and I'm not doing a very good job of it.
I think they've been working on a time, how they think things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been
Go to that and see what's right and what needs to be fixed.
But there's some good, I've got a couple of notes here, there's some good things that, what if, I said, what if? What if I got back on that first ship after my leave and hadn't met that fine fella coming up? What if? Would I still be on that other ship? What if? Another what if? I found a diary of a fellow who was on this kind of a ship, only they were a rescue ship. He tells stories about people just begging to get off of that ship. They couldn't stand to see all that dead bodies and heads and legs and everything else. So I was lucky there. What if? If I'd been on there, I couldn't have stood it. Terrible duty. Sometimes I don't like to think about it.
No, it would be hard to think about, that's for sure. Did you keep in touch with any of your war buddies after the war?
I did. You read that story, didn't you?
I haven't read all the stories yet. They've read more than I have.
I did.
Good.
You'll have a story of it. If you've taken all that, photographed all that, and what I've given you, you'll find it.
Okay, good. I'll look for it.
It was a PT boat ride one night with a friend.
Okay. You're probably one of the few people still alive from World War II. You're probably one of the few people who are still alive from that war.
Still alive, people. Hey, not a lot of them left.
Are there a lot left?
Not a lot.
Huh.
That's what Mike's, we're going to do a book. Whose book is this? Your book? My book? Mike thinks that they won't sell. He wants to order one at a time. I had a sister that wrote a story of our family life back in the World War, or back in the Depression days. She lost her husband. That's my mom. Lost her husband with 5 kids, and she raised them. You'll find that, I think, in there someplace. And Mike seems to think, oh, that those books won't sell. I don't see why they won't sell. She sold her books for years. When she'd come back down to Upland from Logansport, she'd always bring a box of books and always sell some about our family life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why wouldn't they buy some of an old guy, huh?
You never know.
Never know.
Never know.
But Mike thinks just order one at a time. Well, if that's all you're going to sell, I mean, everybody I talk, not everybody, but all the friends I talk to now, we want to read that book. See, this makes me think, why not?
Yeah. Might as well try it. That's why we're here.
Huh?
So that's why we're here. There are a lot of books out there about World War II, and people seem to be buying them. I mean,
Are they?
they're stories that, not too many people are left to tell the stories.
That's right. And I just wonder if this is all wrapped up and done in time. Over at Upland, they have their strawberry festival.
Uh-huh.
You know that? And there's a big crowd there.
I don't know when they are, though.
It's
When
in June,
is it in June?
because they bring those strawberries down from Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Big farmer out there raises them.
So you'd like to sell some at that?
I wouldn't know why not.
We'll have to see what we can come up with.
Sure.
But I can buy books. I'm not rich, but I've got some money
Okay.
to buy books or whatever you need it for.
Okay.
Hmm? You wouldn't have if you think it'd be a good idea. I'll invest the money in the books.
Well, part of the research that they're going to do, part of what they're going to do is look to see if it would be good to self-publish or if there'd be a place who might publish it. So we'll do some research for you.
What?
We'll do some research about that.
Okay.
So we'll give you some options.
But I wouldn't be afraid to buy. Well, I say a few hundred, but
Yeah.
maybe that's. But like I say, my sister, for years after that, she'd always bring a box full of books down and sell them for just a family.
Mhm.
Just a family.
Yeah, you can sell things like that. I did a little book for my mom once,
You did?
and I printed 1,000 copies of it, and I sold all but about 100.
Well, there you are.
Yeah. I mean, I paid for it, but I made my money back. So
Well,
it was
listen, like I say,
self-publishing. Yeah.
I've got enough money to buy as many copies as you think we can do.
Well, we'll get you some prices.
Huh?
We'll get some prices and see. Well, we'll have to see how long it is, and we'll have to see if we
How
want
long
pictures
the
in
book
it.
is, maybe?
Yeah. So we'll have to do some calculating before we can get there, but we'll think about that.
Would you still happen to have a copy of that book that your sister would sell? The book that your sister would sell about your family? Did you still have a copy of that somewhere?
Do I have a copy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I gave them to people, or loaned them to people, and I don't even know where I could find one now. She's been gone for several years, and her family, I don't see much of her family. I'm sure she left some books. No, I do wish I had one, but I don't know where I'd find it.
What was her name?
Her name was Julia Dawson.
Dawson?
Dawson.
Okay.
Dawson.
You know what she called the book?
My mother's name was Hansel. Hancel.
Uh-huh.
And I think that was the name of the book.
Was Hansel?
Hansel.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We might see if we can locate it somewhere. Might be one in the Upland Library.
That's true.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a local story.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Who were some of the most interesting people you met in the Navy?
Hmm?
Who were some of the most interesting people you met in the Navy?
Most interesting? Well, I would probably say my old friend Norman Colvin. He was the lowest commissioned officer on the ship. But whenever something needed to be done, off the ship, on shore, they would send him to do it. And he'd always say, "Come on, Benny." And I remember this first time, when your ship shoots down a plane, you gotta get accreditation for that from somebody. So he went up to the captain's cabin and got 2 or 3 bottles of whiskey. He was a savvy young fellow. Went back in the jungle and found a group where that plane might have been shot down. Found the group there on the perimeter, and they say, "No, we didn't see anything like that." So I'm supposed to jiggle the bag so they hear that whiskey clinking in there. "Hey, go get that to the lieutenant." They found the lieutenant after a while. "Sure, we saw that plane right over here. Down right over here." They wanted the whiskey. This fellow was what I went with me, or we went together. He was a savvy. He knew what was going on. He was along when we got run out of the plane, taking the compass out, and we were together down on one of the other islands, Morotai, when we went down to another invasion down at Borneo. And sure enough, we got run out of an airplane field down there because he was looking for a camera. So we got run out of there. And I saw him it's been 30 years ago now, I suppose, where he had had a stroke like I was, and he couldn't keep up. And his son wrote in a month or 2 that his dad had fallen and killed him. He was killed. When you have a stroke,